You've seen the number, 20%. The Guardian, SBS, ABC, all warning that grocery prices could surge 20%, possibly 30% in under 3 weeks. And Australians aren't waiting around. SPC Global just confirmed pantry-loading demand has spiked 20%. Canned tomatoes, baked beans, packaged fruit vanishing off shelves nationwide. Your gut is right. But your aim is off. Let them panic over the pantry. I need to show you the math on why this supply chain fracture is on track to hollow out your mortgage buffer within months. Over the next few minutes, I'm connecting the economic dots that Canberra and the RBA refuse to touch, and handing you a clear, emotion-free framework to defend your family's wealth before the real hit lands. Are you already changing the way your family shops? Let me know in the comments if you've noticed specific items quietly vanishing from your local supermarket shelves recently. Because here's what nobody is telling you. Food crises don't strike like oil crises. They run on a biological delay fuse, and by the time you feel the real shock, it's already too late to prepare. Think about the last time petrol prices spiked. You saw it at the pump the next morning. Painful, immediate, visible. Food works on a completely different clock. That 20% price hike staring you down at the supermarket right now, you're paying for yesterday's problems. Crops planted months ago under last season's cost structure. That bill was locked in before you ever noticed. Here's where the timeline turns ugly. Farming runs on biology. Strict, unforgiving planting windows. Miss the window by 2 weeks, and that crop doesn't exist. Gone. There's no overtime shift, no express shipping, no workaround. The soil doesn't negotiate. And right now, according to grower survey data, more than a quarter of Australian farmers have already reduced or completely stopped planting their winter crops. Because input costs are so volatile, they cannot even calculate whether they'll break even. A quarter of growers stepping back from the ground. Farmers with 60 to 70 years of experience are calling this the worst food crisis of their lifetime. Nothing in living memory compares. So, the food that should be sitting on your shelves 6 months from now, it is not in the ground today. That is the delay fuse detonating in slow motion. When someone tells you prices are stabilizing, understand what that actually means. You are staring at the calm before a harvest that barely exists. Now, the critical question, if input costs are this destructive, what exactly is sending them off the rails? The answer sits thousands of kilometres from any Australian paddock, buried in a supply chain most people have never even thought about. Fertiliser. That's the first domino. Australia produces almost zero fertiliser domestically. We import virtually all of it. And without fertiliser, nothing grows. Full stop. No nitrogen in the soil, no wheat, no barley, no canola. It's the chemical foundation of modern agriculture, and we control none of our own supply. So where does it come from? This is where the picture turns ugly. Nearly 1/3 of all global fertilizer trade passes through a single narrow waterway. The Strait of Hormuz, one of the most geopolitically volatile choke points on the planet. Every tanker standoff, every military escalation in that region sends a shockwave directly into Australian paddocks. Your grocery bill is literally tied to the mood of foreign navies, thousands of kilometres from here. But here's the real stranglehold. Russia controls roughly 40% of key global fertilizer exports. Since the conflict escalated, they've completely shut the tap. Stopped shipping, gone. That alone has driven nitrogen fertilizer prices up around 40%. 40%. Before a single seed hits the ground. And if you're thinking, can't we just buy from somewhere else? China had the same idea, except they're keeping it for themselves. Beijing has severely tightened exports of urea and critical agricultural chemicals to protect its own domestic supply. The world's two largest fertilizer powers are both saying the same thing. Our people first. Everyone else? Figure it out. Let me connect the dots. Superpowers hoard, trade routes jam, and the Australian farmer, already stretched to breaking point, now faces a 40% spike in input costs before they've even turned the ignition on a tractor. The math doesn't work. You cannot grow food at a loss and survive. But here's what keeps me up at night. Even if, by some miracle, our farmers secure enough fertilizer and get crops into the ground, those crops still have to travel from the paddock to your plate. And the second lifeline that makes that journey possible, it's already falling apart. Diesel. 85% of Australian farms run entirely on it. Every tractor, every irrigation pump, every refrigerated truck between the paddock and your fridge. Or right now, diesel has blown past $3 a litre in agricultural regions. You might think expensive fuel just makes your commute pricier. Your car runs on petrol. The entire food economy, every grain harvested, every crate loaded, every cold chain delivery keeping your meat safe, runs on diesel. And diesel just doubled. Here's where it gets visceral. One dairy producer broke down his numbers for me. It now costs him $1.90 in pure freight charges to move a single 2-litre bottle of milk onto a supermarket shelf. That bottle retails for $2, $1.90 in freight, $2 at the register. Do the maths on what's left for the farmer, the processor, the retailer. There's nothing. And it gets worse. Another supplier had a 46,000-litre fuel delivery already en route, diverted mid-journey because a desperate competitor offered a higher spot price. Fuel is being auctioned off in real time like a scarce commodity. Because it is one. Industry bodies are now warning that up to 70% of independent truck drivers could be forced off the road within 6 months. 70%. The backbone of regional freight in this country. Gone. So let me connect the dots on where we actually stand. The crops can't grow without affordable fertilizer. Even if they could, they can't reach you without affordable diesel. The physical chain connecting food to your family is snapping at both ends simultaneously. Now, if you're sitting there thinking Coles and Woolies are big enough to absorb some of this, I need you to hear me clearly. Those supermarket giants operate on profit margins so razor thin, they have zero capacity to shield you. Every dollar of this upstream catastrophe, the fertilizer, the diesel, the freight collapse, lands on exactly one person at the end of the line. You, at the checkout. And what that does to the rest of your household budget, especially that mortgage repayment you're already stretching to cover. That's where this story takes its ugliest turn. Let me show you the math behind that, because the numbers don't lie. Pick up anything off a supermarket shelf. Milk, tinned tomatoes, a bag of rice. Roughly 70% of what you pay at the register is purely cost of goods sold. That's the raw ingredients, the fertilizer that grew them, the diesel that shipped them, the retailer's actual profit margin. Whatever sliver survives after wages, rent, refrigeration, power, and logistics have taken their cut. So do the arithmetic with me. When those upstream inputs, fertilizer, diesel, freight, double, that 70% chunk doesn't nudge. It doubles. And supermarkets have no secret reserve to absorb the difference. They run on margins so thin that a single bad quarter triggers profit warnings to shareholders. There is no corporate generosity waiting in the wings to cushion your grocery bill. The pass-through you is total. 100%. Every cent. Now, remember those images from the top of this video. Shoppers loading trolleys with SPC canned goods, stripping shelves clean of long-life staples. The media labeled them panic buyers, irrational, hysterical, but put them through the math we just walked through. Those people weren't panicking, they were calculating. They looked at fertilizer tripling, diesel strangling transport networks, freight routes fracturing in real time, and drew the only rational conclusion. The retail illusion is finished. Prices aren't coming back down, and the fear has moved past price entirely. People aren't just worried about what things cost anymore. They're worried about whether the product will even be on the shelf. And here's what most Australians still haven't connected. Your grocery bill jumping 20, 30, 40%. That's the surface scratch. Because when food inflation at this scale starts bleeding into official CPI figures, and mathematically it will, one institution gets forced to respond. The Reserve Bank of Australia, and the only tool they reach for, interest rates, which means this stops being about your weekly shop. It becomes about whether you can keep your home. Let me put numbers to that threat. Roy Morgan's latest research, February to March 2026, shows mortgage stress risk has surged back to devastating levels. 26.6% of all mortgage holders, so that's 1.41 million Australians, are now classified as at risk. The trigger? CPI nearly doubling to 3.8%. And the single biggest driver of that spike? Food and non-alcoholic beverages, which climbed 3.4%. Follow the chain with me. It's airtight. Imported fertilizer costs more. Australian farmers, squeezed on margins they were already barely surviving on, scale back or abandon crops. Domestic supply drops, shelves thin out, prices climb. That price climb doesn't stay at the checkout. That feeds directly into the consumer price index. And when CPI pushes above the RBA's target band, the Reserve Bank reaches for its only lever, interest rates. Hold them or hike them. Either way, whatever fragile mortgage buffer you've scraped together over the past 2 years gets wiped out. That's not speculation. That's arithmetic. Now here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. You might be thinking, I earn good money. I'm not the person who ends up in mortgage stress. The data disagrees. The Guardian reported, backed by the Scanlon Institute, that 1 in 5 Australian households earning over $91,000 experienced food insecurity in the past 12 months. 1 in 5. These aren't people on welfare. These are white-collar professionals, dual-income families, people who got the degree, got the career, bought the house, and are now choosing between filling the fridge and paying the bank. Grocery prices outpaced wage growth by more than 5%. 62% of families are already forced to aggressively cut essential spending just to keep their heads above water. We are well past belt tightening. This is structural deterioration of household financial resilience happening in real time to people who look exactly like you. Sit with this for a moment. The fertilizer shortage is structural. The diesel dependency is structural, which means the food inflation feeding into CPI is structural, which means the RBA cannot cut rates, not because they don't want to, but because the math won't let them. Your mortgage rate staying painfully high traces directly back to a broken agricultural supply chain that nobody in Canberra built a backup plan for. And I get told all the time, Sarah, it feels like every time we think it can't get worse, it does. Right now, we are drowning in crises. And the people running the system, they had decades to build domestic fertilizer capacity, decades to secure sovereign food supply chains, decades to insulate Australian families from exactly this kind of global shock. They chose not to, so here's the uncomfortable reality you need to accept. Continuing to play by the rules of a system that was never designed to protect you just means absorbing every hit they failed to prevent. But, and this matters, we are still inside the lag window. The full impact hasn't landed yet. There is still time to build a defensive position before this wave breaks. And that is exactly what we're getting into next. Australia exports enough gas to power entire nations, sits on massive coal and uranium reserves, yet it can't refine its own diesel or manufacture its own fertilizer. That's the structural trap. Decades of policy laziness turned an energy superpower into an import junkie for the two inputs its food system can't survive without. Want proof the people in charge know exactly how exposed we are? Prime Minister Albanese just flew to Brunei and Indonesia, cap in hand, to secure 250,000 tonnes of urea and 100 million litres of diesel. Let me put that diesel number in context. 100 million litres covers roughly 1 day of Australia's national consumption. 1 day. That's not a strategic trade deal. That's beggar diplomacy from a government that spent decades dismantling the very refining and manufacturing capacity that could have shielded us from this moment. So let me be direct with you. No policy announcement is going to fix this in time. The structural hole is too deep, and the people who dug it are the same ones now, scrambling to patch it with overnight flights and photo ops. The only person building a wall around your family's future right now is you. Here's what I need you to do. Tonight, open your mortgage account. If you don't have at least 3 months of repayments sitting in your offset or redraw, that becomes priority 1 before any other spending decision. Then, start a slow, steady rotation of non-perishable staples. Rice, canned protein, long-life essentials. Smart household logistics, not panic buying. And understand this. The lag window is closing. Every week you wait is a week closer to the next rate rise, eating into whatever buffer you've got left. We're paying the absolute price for a crisis that started 7 oceans away. But you've got the data now. You see the entire chain, from fertilizer docks to your grocery receipt to your bank's next rate letter. That makes you harder to blindside than 90% of the country. So send this to someone you care about. The mate quietly stressing over their mortgage. The parents watching their grocery bill climb. And wondering why. The more of us who see this clearly, the stronger the position we hold. Subscribe, Stay close. I'll keep pulling the numbers apart so you don't have to. We're in this together, but only if we move.